Hey guys, welcome to another Anon Grieving video, and we are in Mass Effect Andromeda multiplayer yet again, and we are reviewing the rare pistol, the Talon. So it has 532 damage, 75 rate of fire, 4 max clip size, 28 max ammo, 40 accuracy and a fairly high weight for a pistol of 30. As per usual, there are no modifications on the weapon or skills invested in my character to improve it in any way. So let's get straight on to gameplay. Gameplay, as per usual, is recorded on silver, so that is that. Here we go. And this gun is available in Mass Effect 3, and you may know if you've watched previous reviews, we always cast our mind back when doing a review to what the gun was like in Mass Effect 3, and the Talon was a very heavy pistol. It was packed a hell of a punch. It was a really nice weapon, especially if you put a damage modification on it. It would do a hell of a lot of damage. It was a really nice pistol to use. Again, it wasn't one of the most favoured pistols, but I would say it was a very solid weapon. Slightly above average, although I don't think lots of people hold it in high regard, because obviously there was a lot of guns in Mass Effect 3 that people would go to and overshadowed a lot of weapons. Moving on to how it performs in Andromeda, and you may notice there's different music than usual, just because I thought I'd be a little bit more thematic with this review, just because this did feel like a Western revolver to me. It felt like a really solid gun. It felt really fun to play with, just because I felt like I was this character in a Western who had this really powerful pistol that when faced in a duel, a two-man duel, would just turn around, quick draw and just blow my enemies to pieces. And that's what this gun felt like, and that's why I've got the Western music. Sorry if it isn't very reviewy and it may seem annoying to you, but I just thought I'd put it in there just for a thematic approach. But anyway, the Talon, its damage is amazing. I actually really enjoy playing with this pistol. It's got a very low rate of fire, as you can see by the stats, but this is made up for by its extreme damage. It feels like a really nice weapon to use. If you're up close to enemies, brute enemies will go down within 2 headshots, which is really nice to see. That does show how powerful this gun is. It basically feels like a small shotgun, a one-handed shotgun, shall we say, just because it is a pistol with a very heavy hit. And I really did enjoy using it, especially if you're up close. It does have okay range on it, but once you start shooting enemies for a further distance, you do see damage decrease quite a bit. Not so that the gun's useless, but you do find that maybe it'll take 4 headshots to kill a brute enemy, whereas if you're up close it's 2. So if you are somebody who's running around, maybe using an adept character, etc., and you are in enemies' faces, you want to stun them and quickly finish them off, the Talon is the gun for you, because if you're up close you can literally putting a hell of a lot of bullets into an enemy, get lots of critical hits off, and end up literally tearing stuff apart. One stat that the Talon has, which I don't know if to mention under damage, but I'm going to anyway, is force. Force in this game is where you shoot a bullet and it staggers an enemy. It's sort of like you shoot them and it kind of like halts them, they kind of like stagger back, etc. And the Talon has this in abundance. Every shot you fire basically will stutter an enemy. This is especially effective against your dog type enemies, your Adahai, etc. It means that not only can you kill them in 3 shots, which is extremely effective, probably the most effective way of killing dog type enemies that I've seen in Andromeda multiplayer so far, but it also means that you are able to stagger them. So if you're doing something like a hack or an upload where them entering the circle will affect the upload, it will stop it, etc., it means that you can stagger them, meaning they never get into that circle if you are effective enough. And force on this gun does really allow you to get into enemies' faces, but also when you start to get overwhelmed, you can shoot enemies to stop them from approaching you too quickly. So that is nice to see. Its max clip size of 4 isn't ideal. You do find yourself having to reload a lot. Its reload speed isn't too bad, but I think it's a fair payoff that it has a low mag size, just because each bullet does provide a lot of damage. If it was a lower damaging gun and I wasn't able to finish off enemies within a clip, even half a clip in some cases with this gun, I would say the max clip size would be an issue. But with it being 4 and being able, if you're lucky, to get 2 brute enemy kills with headshots and critical hits, I think the max clip size of 4 is a fair payoff. However, if you want to improve this, just modify it. That's one thing that I say needs modifying if you want to put your mod somewhere, just because I think everything else on the gun so far is pretty good. Moving on to max ammo of 28 again isn't ideal, but if you're like me and you run around with the Talon, you do find that you do pass a lot of ammo boxes, so just make sure you keep an eye out on how many bullets you have left. so that you can try and work your way around the map so that you do come into contact with ammo boxes. Again, I said that you can improve mag size, maybe improving max ammo instead of mag size could be a thing for you. It just depends on how you play the gun, whether you like to have a lot of bullets in your chamber or you like to have a lot of bullets on backup. So that's my advice there. It's accuracy of 40. I found its accuracy to be fine. I found that because it didn't have very good accuracy, I could be very haphazard with my shots. It didn't take me a lot of time to turn around, and I didn't have to feel like I had to line up the shot so much. I felt like I could just turn around and spray and pray, and most of the time it would hit. You do have a very large crosshair with this gun, which does mean you do get off a lot of shots onto your target, which you wouldn't with other guns with higher accuracy. You may have seen my Valkyrie review by now, and that was a gun that was way too accurate. When it comes to stuff like the Talon, its lack of accuracy really does come on its own really. It does mean that you can turn around and you don't have to be amazingly accurate with the gun to get shots off. Most time you will land the shot by just spinning around and shooting your enemy. I rambled that, but let's go straight onto its weight. Its weight of 30 is quite substantial. That is very heavy compared to a pistol. When you think stuff like the Sidewinder has a weight of 12, so that can be an issue for you. However, obviously you can modify it to make its weight lower. I would argue you could run this gun as your sole weapon. However, some of you may get caught out using it like that just because it does have such a slow rate of fire, and it does feel like a slow gun, but it feels like it's a casual gun. It feels like a skillful gun to use. I say it's casual and skillful in the same sort of way, and that may sound alarming or silly to you, but it feels like it's a gun that you kind of like sat back. You feel like you know you can play the game well, and you can just kind of shoot each bullet. You take your time with the shot. Sometimes you get critical hits, you do a lot of damage. This feels like a very skillful gun. It feels like it's a gun made for your cocky player, your sort of like sheriff who owns the town, who feels like, hey, I've got the skill, I'm going to show you how I can do it, I don't even break a sweat. So there we go. That's a very odd way of me ending the review with that little imagery there. But anyway, that is the Talon. It is a pistol that I really enjoyed just because it had such high damage, and it did feel really unique to play with. Not due to anything specific, just to the fact of how damaging it was and how effective I found it to be despite its low rate of fire, something that is usually a massive pet peeve for me. So there we go. Like, comment, subscribe, leave all your feedback, and as per usual, have a nice day.